blood. And there's disagreement about that based on some tests that they've done with animals. But of course, when you see doctors and health workers routinely coming down with this, I know it is very contagious and it's very difficult to maintain these procedures, and that may be what's up with it. But the possibility exists that they don't understand how the disease is transmitted fully. Maybe it is transmitted by air and they're not acknowledging that and not guarding for that. Now, as that's breaking, and as we're looking at the possibility of having quarantines and the possibility of having forced vaccinations, this story broke today. This is from MyFox 8 out of Wisconsin. A girl with a sore throat is given the HPV vaccine and dies just hours after leaving the doctor. And they say the only thing different about that day was the shot, said her parents. So that's something we're going to pick up with that right after we come back, because there's a little bit more about that. I want to go into that a little bit more, and we're going to try to take your calls, see if we can get this phone system ironed out. We'll be right back.
I've always believed in nutrition and herbs. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Sourced from powerful organic herbs, harvested around the planet, and then concentrated for maximum potency.
I just received my Male Vitality about 3 days ago, and I must say, that was good stuff.
After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic Super Male Vitality formula. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose.
I jump out of bed ready to fight these criminals every day. I look forward to waking up and taking my Super Male Vitality and getting the day started.
It's not just the Super Male Vitality. All the products at InfoWarsLife.com are simply amazing. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality and other powerful products from InfoWars Life. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. In the near future.
When you realize how fake it all is, the football, the basketball.
Alert. Security alert. This is Homeland Security. Analysis. InfoWars building independent media operation.
We let the worst people get control and tell us that we are the ones responsible.
Prime directive. Discredit Alex Jones.
Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
It's a popular conspiracy theory talk show called InfoWars.
Alex Jones is now in an Austin jail.
These people are assaulting us.
Targeting of patriots engaged.
They are never going to stop. They're never going to deviate from their program until we stop them.
Block free iPhone app at Infowars.com. Block free podcast and video feed. Imperative. Destroy Prison Planet TV.
You gotta set your eye on the enemy, not worry about what propaganda they put out. Intellectually, it's begun. You can feel it.
I'm David Hall, founder of Diamond Gusset, where we are proud of our 100% grown and sewn American-made jeans. Whether you're out for dinner, working on the farm, or on the road, Diamond Gusset Jeans offers a full spectrum of style and sizes for any occasion. Our loyal customers enable us to continue sponsoring Liberty Media outlets. Use promo code FREEDOM to receive a 15% discount at Gusset.com. In Liberty, David Hall, Diamond Gusset Jean Company.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. Thomas Jefferson. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight in Austin, and we're taking your calls in this segment. We're going to be going to Brad in Louisiana in just a moment about Iraq and impeachment. But first, I was talking about Ebola before the break, and I want to go to Rich in New York, who'd called in about that. Rich, go ahead.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me on. I can't believe I got it on my first shot. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Good.
I can't believe that this country would allow for a contagious disease like that. I mean, even doctors have come forth and said, why are you bringing them into this country? You know that most diseases or most infections are spread in hospitals.
Yes. And that's what I was just reporting at. The New York Times is talking about how everybody was so afraid of the hospitals in Sierra Leone and in Nigeria that they're empty. They're saying don't touch the walls, they're totally infected. People are staying away, but they're still dying. They're dying in the streets, they're dying in their homes, but they're certainly not going to the hospitals.
And the first thing, obviously, you do is contain them, and the contain is not let anybody in or out of the area. You quarantine area. You don't even have to be a doctor to be able to understand that concept.
That's right. That's right. So what's your take behind it? Why do you think they would do that?
I don't know yet. I'm still waiting. I mean, there's been some people saying, well, this is a big spin on Big Pharma coming up with some antidote to cure it and turning it into a money-making thing. I'm not quite sure, but all I know is that from a medical standpoint, that is not the thing to do to start shipping people all over the world.
That's right. It's hard to say. We don't really know what their motives are, but we start asking questions when we see them doing things that make absolutely no sense, that violate all their protocols, that violate common sense, that violate everything that you would expect to see with something that is this serious, this contagious. When they stand down, you got to say, why would they do that? It makes absolutely no sense. There comes a time at which you got to say, there's something besides incompetence going on here. There's some other alternative motives that are going on, whether, like we said before, perhaps it is that they want to create a panic and sell or force us to buy their mandatory vaccines, or whether this is just as simple as the people here at the University of Texas, the professor who said he wanted to see 90% of the people on Earth die, and he had said that he wanted an airborne Ebola virus, suggested that would be the way to make that happen. So who knows what their real motive is, but certainly we can't chalk this up just to incompetence. There's something far beyond that. Thank you, Rich in New York. Let's go to Brad. You've been holding on for a long time. Brad in Louisiana, you want to talk about Iraq and impeachment. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Dave. I wanted to mention the fact that when President Bush #1 ended his desert war, very soon after that time, there was a squadron of F-16s that were sent into Iraq for the purpose of a bombing sortie, and everyone was taken by surprise by that. I was working for a company who convened a meeting among its data field supervisors to tell us that the reason that this was being done was to destroy a cache of fiber optic cables that Saddam Hussein was warehousing, and that it had to be done so that we could continue to pull up their electromagnetic waves from cell phones and things like that. Now, something like that is easy to understand. What is going on today with regard to Obama is that the job is just too big for the man. He does not know what he is doing. I think that everybody...
You know, Brad, let me jump in there and say, I agree with you. I think it is too big for Obama. I think it's too big for anybody, because we've allowed the presidency, the office of the presidency, to acquire powers that were never intended for it. I mean, we've seen Congress essentially step aside from their duty to try to keep the executive in power, to check the executive, to check the bureaucracy. They have abdicated their power, and we see this power being concentrated. Of course, he's trying to do it with the executive orders. It isn't that we've asked him to do something and he's reluctantly saying, well, all right, I'll do it, but I don't really know that I'm up to it. They are taking this power upon themselves, and that, I think, is one of the most important reasons that we need to follow through with impeachment, is to try to devolve that power. But of course, the Republicans don't want to see that happen either, because they're salivating for the day when they're going to get their hands on the levers of the dictatorship. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I concur completely. With regard to impeachment, it should have been done before. But the fact of the matter is that I'm calling you from the second most corrupt state in the United States as of a recent poll. So we know a little bit about it here in Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
And we see it at the lowest levels of politics, even at the school superintendent level within a parish. You know, it's something that's inherent with this authority that's given to people. They begin to think that they are thinking for everyone and that the people don't count anymore. It's the people voted me in, so they must want me to make decisions for them. And of course, this is exactly the opposite of what it's all about.
You know, I go back to this article that we had last week. We had, I think it was on Tuesday, we had a 4th hour of Overdrive where we played an interview that Alex had with this Marine colonel from New Hampshire, retired Colonel Pete Martino, who spoke out about the small town that was getting a donation of a giant military vehicle in this very peaceful, very small town. And he said, this is a militarization of the country, of our police, and nobody sees it. But when he wrote this article, when we posted the interview up, we put in an article that he had written just a few days before where he was focusing on the corruption. And as you were just saying, Brad, as you see a lot of corruption in Louisiana, he pointed out that you're always going to have people who are going to violate, who are going to game the system. And so unless you want to see your entire system taken down, you have to kick those people out. You have to take action against them. You have to prosecute them. And that applies whether you're talking about police who are violating the rules of engagement, who are shooting people on the streets when they've got their hands up, to whether you're talking about somebody in city council. That's why when you don't do that, that's why they talk about the fish rotting from the head down. That's the Greek metaphor, the saying that they had, the fish always rots from the head down. When you see Richard Nixon being taken out for impeachment, it was very important for that to be done. It's very important that we do that today. And if we don't do that, we're going to see this corruption moving further down. They get the message that they're not going to be punished. Just as we saw that cop, I think it was a video that went out on Thursday where he said, hey, Obama's violating the Constitution. I really don't care about your First Amendment rights, about your Fourth Amendment rights. Get out of this police station or I'm going to arrest you right now. These people that were going in there complaining about how they were not allowed to film or ask questions in a public housing area, which is essentially public property. And he said, I don't care. We have a president who doesn't obey the Constitution. I, as a police officer, don't have to obey the Constitution. And so that's what he was talking about. When you allow that, and that decision begins at the top, when you allow that to happen, it permeates all the way down. You know, it was Winston Churchill who said, when he was talking about the American Revolution, he said, when the Americans got their freedom, that gave greater freedom to the people in Britain because it broke the freedom of the king. So when you allow that corruption to happen, it permeates its way all the way down. We're going to be right back with your calls. We're going to talk about the 40th anniversary of Richard Nixon's resignation as well as ISIS. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Alex Jones for InfoWarsLife.com. The latest in preparedness is now here. An electrically stabilized colloidal silver solution that can be added to both your home cabinet and preparedness pack alike. Concentrated to 30 parts per million in what has been dubbed the survival silver solution. The new InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver is the answer for you and your family. And it's entirely free of toxic artificial additives that are loaded into many products. The InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Silver is so powerful that it is concentrated into a 2-ounce bottle and is not recommended for extended continual use. This is not a low-grade formula. We are working with one of the top laboratory manufacturers in the United States to bring you the best form of colloidal silver using electrical processes within a base of deionized water for your preparedness storage, for your home